I'm back. First, a little update. Got my ultrasound. No, no, I did not get an ultrasound yesterday. Got my mammogram yesterday. Got the results today. Ironically enough, the left side that has had the issue is clear. The right side, they want to do another mammogram and an ultrasound. Um, Freaking me out a little bit that they don't want to do the left again, but I guess I just have to go along with that process with whatever and just trust that nothing moved inside that they don't see. But with the right one, I don't know if any of you remember, but in 2020 or 2021, it all runs together now during the COVID years. I had a scare, found a lump, went through this whole process then, got a mammogram, got an ultrasound, was set up for the biopsy. When they went to do the biopsy, they said that they didn't actually have to do the biopsy because the tumor that they thought was a tumor was not a tumor and it was just debris in my ducts. So they can tell the difference between that because when they're doing the ultrasound, a tumor doesn't move. It's completely static and stays still and is hooked to something. The debris, when they go over it, with an ultrasound and they move like this, you can see liquid movement inside the tube. So it'd be like if there was water inside a hose or a rock inside of a hose, what that would show up like on, I don't know, however you would see the inside of a hose with an X-ray or an ultrasound or whatever. But let's pretend we could do that. A tumor would look like a rock that's stuck, doesn't move, can't be pushed either way. If you do push it, then you're moving other tissue with it. The debris is more like there's some water and some rust in the hose so that when you look, you can see it in there, but it moves with the movement of the ultrasound. So that's where we are. That is scheduled for next Tuesday. I'm happy that nothing was found on the left side, but, like, I'm also frustrated because I don't have my corrected chart or amended chart yet, so it is frustrating me to no end that I just feel like we're just going on faith, which I would like a little more concrete something to go on, but we're just going on faith that that left side is fine still. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm annoyed. When I went in the first time for that mammogram, when I found the lump and the doctor found the lump, we went in, they did the mammogram. They saw something questionable. They did the ultrasound right then and there, and then they scheduled the biopsy right from there. So, like, I was expecting some urgency like that, but apparently it was just put in as like a regular screening mammogram. And now I'm getting put in for the right side for a diagnostic mammogram and ultrasound. So I'm not really sure why that wasn't done the first time since we had cancer on the left side, why we didn't go for a diagnostic instead of a screening. I'm going to chalk that up to being something that doctors know more than me, although I feel like the ones I've been seeing, I feel like right now they don't know much, but I have to just trust the process, have faith in the process because that's what we're flying on here, people faith, not anything else. So while my faith in this whole process is wavering, I have to keep pushing and I have to keep going. And if you're all still with me, great. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's comforting. If you are all thinking, okay, this girl's crazy, tell me why. Because I'm still terrified and I'm still not trusting anything. I just keep taking a deep breath like that because it's the only thing that I can do. So, since I'm here updating you, I might as well tell you a little bit about part three. Now, part three is the part where the medical director actually calls me. I have to be honest with you. I tried to record that call just even if it's not admissible in court, whatever. I just wanted to have it in case I missed anything because when I'm angry, sometimes I just speak. And I kept calm, as calm as I possibly could through that conversation. But he was trying me for sure. So I don't remember all of it. I remember key pertinent information, which I will share with you. I remember some of his just complete disregard for me as a human being. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or I'm a woman who's coming for his company. I'm not really sure. Couldn't tell. He might just be as chauvinist as the other guy. Um, but I'm jumping ahead. So I'll back it up. If we remember, I was waiting for a call from the medical director. No one called me. I told them, okay, if you're telling me he's going to call me tomorrow morning by 12:01 tomorrow, I'm going to be on the phone. Believe I told you all this in the last part, and I could look it up, but where's the fun in that? So I'm just going to recap real quick. Was supposed to get a call, never got a call, called, um, got a hold of the this crazy piece of hair. That's what happens when you have curly, frizzy hair. Was finally got a hold of the head of pathology who I had already spoken to and argued with and all the good things, when I asked her about the standard of care. So the next that was when I talked to her and she told me that, she was going to pass the information along. So it was the next morning, it was a Friday morning, not last Friday, probably the Friday before. I can't remember now. Doesn't really matter. The head of pathology sent me a message and said, the medical director would like to talk to you. Can I give him your number? Absolutely. That's who I've been waiting for. I don't know why that's even a question, but okay. So I'm waiting a few hours thinking, okay, this guy's not going to call me. It doesn't matter. My phone rings. I answer. I'm like ready to just be professional. And the way we start the phone is he says, hi, my name is, I'm going to call him Fred. Did we call him Richard? We called him Richard. No, we called Dr. Richard. I don't remember, but this is Richard. This is Richard now. Richard is the medical director. Richard called me and he said, you ready? Kim wanted Kim said you wanted to talk to me. I said, well, that's interesting because Kim messaged me saying you were doing an investigation and that you wanted to talk to me. He said, well, yeah, what happened? Okay, good start. So I started from the beginning, but where I started with him was look, if this guy was just an asshole, like he was, we wouldn't be having this conversation because he'd be an asshole. I'd probably report it and I'd move on with my life knowing that I was healthy and cancer free. That's not happening right now. So he was listening for a little bit, interrupted me every step of the way. He said, well, I know he didn't give you a mirror, but we have to get past that. Apparently, he was under the impression that the only thing that was wrong with my notes is that he said he gave me a mirror and he didn't. And that's what he was stuck on and thought that I was stuck on all this time. I said, well, it was much more than that. I said, he asked me where the biopsy was done. He's like, yeah, well, we always ask the patients. I said, okay, that's fine. It was explained to me by Kim. I understand. You asked the patient for confirmation because, look, you think you're in the right spot. But he kept saying, but who knows better than the patient where their biopsy was done? But then he kept saying to me in a super condescending tone, well, didn't you know where your biopsy was? Sure did. Didn't he? So he kept focusing on that. Yes, we asked for confirmation. Most people know where their site was. I don't understand why you don't know where your biopsy site was. So I was explaining to him, I do know where the biopsy site was, but you have to understand where it was on the outside of my nipple. I can't really see without twisting things and moving things and doing all this. So it really wasn't an easy way to see. And there was no pictures consulted and there was no scientific information that he took on location. There were measurements taken. Why weren't they used? So I kept saying, but it doesn't matter what was done. What was done was done. But now I'm trying to get a second opinion and I can't. And he stopped me and he said, I need to explain something to you. You keep saying the phrase second opinion, but that's not what a second opinion is. So he stops me and tries to mansplain me again. Um, that a second opinion is when you get a diagnosis before you get any treatment, you get a second opinion. And I said, I'm well aware of that. However, This all happened so fast. We thought it was a skin tag. A doctor is offering me a solution right then and there when the first doctor didn't want to let me go past 2 days to schedule this other, what was supposed to be another biopsy and ended up being a Mohs procedure. So I'm just trying to figure out what the urgency was if we're going to hurry up and wait, because now I'm waiting on all of this and I didn't want to wait on a second opinion. I said it happened so fast. They made it sound like it was. So he's explaining all of this. He starts to say something. I don't even remember what it was. But mind you, he's been interrupting me this entire conversation because he made it very clear with the way that he presented himself and his tone and the way he was speaking to me and the way he was transitioning to things. He was doing this call as a formality because I wouldn't leave them alone. He had no interest in talking to me. And I'm going to guess this investigation was a whole lot of nothing. So he's trying to explain something to me that he had very, very, very wrong because it sounded like, again, I don't even remember what the topic was because I was so angry at this point. But he was starting to say something that was like very wrong. And it was almost like he was going off of the notes, not what I was telling him actually happened, because what I said meant nothing to him because he already spoke to his male doctor and that's who he trusted and that's who he listened to. So he was saying something completely incorrect. I said, "I'm gonna stop you right there because," and he said, "No, you're gonna let me finish. Can I finish? You won't let me talk. Everything I say, you won't let me talk. Can I finish? Can I finish?" Like a child, like a child who's arguing, like, "She touched me." So he's pissed off that I didn't let him finish. And I said, "You know what? You've been interrupting me the whole time, but yes, what you have to say is definitely more important. Please continue." And he did because he was that full of himself. So we went on to continue to explain incorrectly. And then I picked up after that and I said, "But I am going to go back since you wouldn't allow me to correct you in real time. This was wrong and here's why." So basically, what he said to me, "What is it that you want here?" So that's a really good question. People have been asking me that, and I've been just trying to figure out an answer because the answer that I've been giving you is I just want to know I'm okay. And you all think I'm crazy that I'm not just taking this person's word for it or your word for it when you're treating me like shit and you're being condescending as could be. And you're also talking down to me because I'm a woman. So I don't trust him and I don't trust you. So what it boiled down to was he was saying there's not really much that they can do about it now because I know no one can do anything based on all of this. The only way to get this fixed is the mammogram, which I explained to you guys. If it is still in skin cancer form, which is what it was, that's not going to show up on a mammogram or an ultrasound or an MRI or any of these other diagnostic tools for normal breast cancer, which is why I'm not a normal breast cancer patient and I'm not a normal skin cancer patient. So that keeps coming back to that. He said, "Well, I can review your chart." I said, "I would imagine doing an investigation you already have." I said, "But no, thank you. No." So he said, "What we're willing to do is pay a third party pathologist." And I said, "Of my choosing?" And he said, "Mm-hmm, absolutely. We will pay them. You just let Kim know where you want the slides sent to, and we will take care of it." Honestly, I don't even remember any of what happened. And I remember sort of kind of like blacking out at the end. And I didn't really go off on him in a way that was unprofessional because I'm keeping this completely legit so that if it ever came to a point of a lawsuit or any other type of real battle, I need to know that I kept my head so they can't say this chick's just crazy. I mean, they're probably already saying that, but they have no valid reason to say I'm crazy because I'm concerned. Even if I am being crazy about it, it's because I'm concerned. So I kept myself calm, dealt with him as professionally as possible. But that 30-minute conversation went absolutely nowhere. But what I got out of it is that all I needed to do was find a pathologist. And the way he was like, "Absolutely, one of your choosing." I thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was, but it's not. Um, So I've been asking people for pathologist recommendations. They tell me I'm in a weird spot and laugh at me. Like a breast surgeon literally laughed at me and said, "Oh, that's a really tough spot to be in." I'm not finding any of this funny at all. So everybody's like, "Yeah, I'm agreeing. This is a difficult situation to be in. We don't really A pathologist is not somebody we can recommend like that. I don't understand though, because I called Virtua Medical Group. They have no pathologist on staff that will talk to me just to hear what I need. When I call the main number, and if I'm repeating this, I'm sorry, but it is totally relevant to this portion of the conversation now. I called the main number for Virtua, what was recommended to me by 3 Virtua doctors, one being a breast surgeon, 2 being in family medicine. Both of them recommended I just call the main number, ask for pathology, tell them what I need, and they'll let me know if they can do something like that. I didn't make it past the main number scheduler, receptionist, whatever they consider that person to be. Told them what I needed. Well, we don't have anybody that does that, but I can give you a referral. So they read me this whole disclaimer about the referrals are just a referral. They're not an actual Virtua doctor, but that they're partners that they work with, blah, 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 all this extra stuff. So I said, okay. And the guy goes, I can't seem to find a phone number for them. I said, well, it's fine. If you just give me the name of the doctor and the company, I'm sure I'll be able to find it on Google. Like, what can you not? This piece of hair is driving me nuts. How can you not find something on Google? So I'm like, it's fine. As long as I have the name of the practice and the name of the doctor, we're good. So they gave me that and I looked it up. When I looked up the name and then I looked up the name, the company, all of it, I found a bunch of obituaries, which I'm pretty sure I mentioned before. And if I didn't, obituaries. So I was like, I'm not gonna click on their obituaries because I don't know who this person is, but it's the only thing that I can find. I cannot find the company name, I cannot find the doctor's name, I cannot find any information on any pathologist named whatever at a company with whatever. So that's why they were offering to pay for a pathologist because I wasn't gonna be able to find one. So while I was waiting to do that, and I was waiting to find a pathologist so that I could email Kim my formal request for my slides to be sent to the appropriate person, all of these things. In that, I also was reading about my rights with an amended file and what I can do. So, based on HIPAA law, and it's a civil rights issue at that point. Again, when I'm dumbing things down, if you guys know anything about this and you're saying, if I'm saying it completely wrong, comment and correct me because I'm just misunderstanding something. But a lot of times it just may sound wrong if you know what I'm talking about because I'm not using the correct terminology or phrases or whatever, as I've learned. Apparently, to some people, that really matters. They hook on to the wrong detail. But so yeah, so I didn't find a pathologist yet. And I figured, okay, at least if I'm going through all these other channels doing the mammogram and getting that side of it started, I have an appointment with Cooper, the Skin Cancer Center. So all these things I have started, but I said I need an accurate record of what happened. So I put in a formal request. It was like 4 pages long, typed, explaining what I wanted, why I wanted it, what the rules were, what the HIPAA, you know, Rights Act or whatever it's called says about that. And basically, the gist is any patient has the right to request that their file be amended. Sorry, I had a really serious question to answer about cookies, so I had to pause there. So I sent my formal request, 4 pages long, had all the information that I needed in it. But basically, you have a right under whether it's a civil rights law, rule, HIPAA, whatever it was, whatever the heading. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm really tired. When I'm angry, I get tired. So it's pretty useless today. You have the right to believe that your file is complete and accurate. And mine obviously is nowhere near complete or accurate because not only is there missing information, but there's incorrect information and just flat out lies in my file. So I sent the formal request and said, while it's proving difficult to find a pathologist to review my slides, I first want to request that my file be amended. And here's all the things that were incorrect. Here's what actually happened. There was nothing that they could question and say, oh, We don't have to do that. Yes, you do. Because I looked everything up and I gave them all of the rationale in this email. They don't have to look up what's wrong because I gave them all of the explanations in the email, how it was different, how my chart was marked only areola. And in this case, there are different, that's different. My nipple is on my areola, but the nipple and the areola, as we're talking about cancer here, are two totally different functions for those pieces. So they don't operate the same. They shouldn't be treated the same. They shouldn't be labeled as the same. Because and I use the excuse that, down the line sometime I'm going to end up forgetting. Will I forget anytime soon any of these details? Probably not. Will I ever forget? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe if I have dementia, I don't really know. Can't imagine forgetting all of this at some point, but there are going to be details that become fuzzy as time goes on. So I would like an accurate and complete record of what was done. And I don't have that right now. So I haven't heard back other than to say that that was passed on to the correct person. I did reach out again today for an update because I need to now proceed further and get this ultrasound and everything, but I didn't give any details. I told them there was an abnormality with the mammogram, so I really need this accurate chart sooner than later. Spoiler alert, I haven't heard anything back and I don't think I will, and I'll have to keep calling them until eventually I get what I need. But I'm not going to stop. So where we are is I'm frustrated and I'm angry and that hasn't really changed. I just get more angry as time goes on because we're taking this so slowly. Like it was so urgent that I get in and I'm so glad that I had that obviously cancerous piece removed. But like I'm not getting any support or confirmation that this is being handled appropriately and I don't have faith and I'm not comfortable and I'm not happy with the treatment I'm getting. Like, I'm not but I don't feel like I have any other options, right? Because I made the appointment with Cooper. I'm going to do that there, and I'm gonna start from the top with them, and I'm gonna go over all of it with them, and I'm gonna ask them to do their own studies and their own come up with their own conclusions and all, and just pretend like this guy didn't exist, although he removed, there's no more tumor on the outside. I'm just not comfortable, and I know this sounds like I'm just being difficult for fun, but when I tell you I'm losing sleep, I'm losing weight, I'm losing energy, all of these things, it is affecting me so deeply to not have an answer, and because of that, it affects my family so much because I'm snapping and yelling at everybody, not trying to, but I am, because I feel like everybody should know what's going on in my head, and since nobody can see what's going on in my head, they should just know that it's there, and I know that's not the way the world works. I'm in awe of how people can be treated. I'm in awe. And I feel with every passing day, I feel crazier and crazier. And I've said that word a million times and I've said it in all of these videos and that's been the theme in all of these videos, but like I just don't understand why it's so hard for people to do their job. But maybe I'm still the crazy one. I mean, everybody's telling me to calm down and just take it step by step, but it's not them. It's not them that this is happening to. So it's easy for everyone else to say, it's okay, we're going to go step by step. And I am. I'm going step by step. But in the meantime, I have no quality of life right now, not for any physical reason, but because everything I do, I have this dark cloud in my brain that's hovering that like I can't even focus on all the things that actually make me happy. Like watching my kids play sports. I'm there, I'm watching, I'm recording. I'm watching more when I replay the recordings and just going through the motions and I don't want to go through the motions. What I want to do is I want to enjoy every minute of my life because now I've had this awakening to the fact that life is short and I don't, you know, That's been the theme of the year and the summer, and I just wanna enjoy everything, and I wanna be here, and I wanna be present, and I just want to know that I'm okay so I can do that, and the reason that I can't is because people just can't do their jobs correctly, and that's frustrating because it's not that I'm obsessing because of what's wrong with me or because I'm going through the process, like, I'm going through chemo, so this is making me sick. No, I'm fine. I'm physically fine. I'm As far as anybody knows, there's nothing wrong with me medically, and there might not be, but the fact that we can't get confirmation of that or be as close to 100% certain as is scientifically possible, I'm just stuck. So that's that. That's my three-part explanation of what I've been going through, and anything from this point on will just be updates about if doctors get back to me or what my test results are, and, I appreciate you sticking with me through this whole journey of this is what's happened so far. So I think I have to shift gears, and at some point in the next few days, we have to do something, fun and not depressing and not just about me. So I don't know what that's gonna be yet because I'm kind of in a fly by the seat of my pants, see what the mood brings kind of situation right now. Because I never know what my head is gonna be able to focus on while this is happening. But I'm here. I thank you for being here, and I'll be back in a few days, hopefully with a happy video and not something else that is just me talking to myself and being depressed. So, thanks for sticking through. That's where we are. I'll be back with updates when I can. Love you guys.